It is the fourth day of the fourth month of the year 2025. It's also the fourth day of Ruto's Mount Kenya tour, a day that we're gathered here to inform you on what's happening in our country and beyond. Our reporters have been up and about interacting with different issues and different people, and they have brought you different stories tonight. Here are the top ones.
Tuondoe chuki, tuondoe ukabila, tuondoe migawanyiko kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu.
President William Ruto continues to accuse his opponents of fueling divisions as he strives for unity. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula faces contempt of court charges of a majority in parliament ruling.
Mtoto alipigwa na kifaa butu na akavunjiwa skadi ya ndani.
Ningependa kumuuliza MCA wetu na viongozi wengine, jambo hili si jambo rahisi.
Busia family demands justice for their deceased son who died in mysterious way. And stakeholders converge at Kenyatta University to mark International Sports Day.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin.
Yes, and Sami Okello joins us in the sign language interpretation tonight. Join us for the next 30 or so minutes as we inform you on what's happening in the country and beyond. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on the fourth day of his tour in the Mount Kenya region, President William Ruto has openly accused his opponents of fueling division despite his relentless efforts to advocate for unity. Our political affairs reporter James Baraka reports as the head of state emphasizes that hatred, tribalism and divisions have no place in the country.
Na ndio mimi nimesema
a strong opposition directed to President William Ruto's government continues to fill the air.
Saa hizi ni saa ya siasa ama ya kazi?
Today, on the fourth day of his tour to the Mount Kenya region, the head of state openly and publicly criticized his vocal opponents,
Saa hii ni saa ya siasa ama maendeleo?
accusing them of fueling divisions.
Kuna wengine wanasema ati tugawane. Ati hawa ni wa kabila hii, sijui hawa ni wa kabila ile, chama hii, sijui chama gani, sijui pande hii, sijui mlima, sijui kwa lake, sijui kwa ocean. Sasa tukienda hiyo barabara si Kenya hii itasambaratika.
Speaking in Embu County earlier today, the president defended his efforts to unite the country, pointing fingers at those he claimed to be busy spreading hatred, tribalism and division.
Hakuna jamii iko Kenya kimakosa. Na kazi yangu kama kiongozi wa taifa ni kuunganisha jamii zote, kutoka pande zote, kutoka kaunti zote. Watu wa Kenya wakae pamoja ndio tuweze kushughulika na mambo ya maendeleo, tuondoe chuki, tuondoe ukabila, tuondoe migawanyiko kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu.
Hakuna jamii ambaye ni mgeni hapa Kenya. Jamii zote, kabila zote ziko na haki kuwa Kenya, na hii Kenya ni nchi moja. Na tusipochunga tunaweza haribu umoja wetu, tupate matatizo kama nchi zingine vile zimepata matatizo.
On his part, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki maintained his usual stance of supporting every statement by his boss, while at the same time calling on those who he referred to as inciters of hostility to end tribal politics.
Wale wanatuambia ati sisi ati tupiganishe kelele watu hapa na kuchochea wananchi kuleta uhasama, wakome na waambiwe sisi tunajua kazi yetu. Si namna hiyo? Kuna watu walikuwa wanachochea watu hapa na kupiganisha wananchi kelele. We have no time for divisive politics. The time we have is to build Kenya.
Siku ya siasa itakuja. Saa hizi ni saa ya kazi. Ama namna gani? Si saa hii kila mtu ashughulike na ile kazi amepatiwa. Siku ya mtihani ikifika, si nyinyi ndio mtasahihisha. Ama namna gani jameni? Si ndio? Ama namna gani? Si nyinyi ndio mtamaa, kila mtu mnasema huyu amepita mtihani aendelee, huyu amegoga mtihani aende nyumbani.
Today, President William Ruto continued with his tour in the Mount Kenya region, launching, commissioning and inspecting various projects, including the Kiambere Water Project and the Chogoria ESP Market, with his tour to the region being expected to conclude on Saturday.
Munasema tuungane ama tutengane?
James Baraka for KUTV.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, I beg your pardon, has emphasized the need for Kenya to harness its international assets strategically through Sessional Paper Number 1 of 2025. During an engagement with Parliament's Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee, he highlighted the paper's goal to optimize diplomatic resources, improve foreign service conditions, and adopt merit-based recruitment. The paper seeks parliamentary endorsement for a holistic, sustainable approach to financing and advancing Kenya's foreign policy.
The overarching request is for Parliament to consider, approve, and adopt the contents and recommendations of the sessional paper. At the core of these requests is the goal of promoting a holistic approach to financing our foreign policy implementation, maximize effective utilization of Kenya's assets abroad, and bolster the foreign service staff through improved terms of service and a structured process of professional recruitment and deployment. This is a grand strategy for positioning our foreign policy in the ever-evolving global landscape.
The Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has filed an application challenging contempt of court charges against him over his February 12, 2025 ruling on the majority ruling in Parliament. Wetangula declared Kenya Kwanza as the majority in Parliament despite a previous High Court ruling that had stripped the ruling party of its status. In response, a group of activists, led by Kenneth Njagi, has filed an application at the Milimani Law Court seeking to have Wetangula found guilty of contempt of court and jailed for allegedly ignoring the court's verdict on the majority party leadership in the House.
My name is Mbarak. I appear with Ms. Nganyi for the second respondent. The second respondent has also filed a PO, which is dated 3rd of April 2025. That PO, Your Lordship, was served on all the parties. There is an affidavit of service on record. It is signed by Mr. Alfred Mahero.
And a family from Rumbie village in Funyula constituency, Busia County, is crying out for justice and calling on the government to unravel the mystery surrounding the death of their son, who was a first-year student at Mount Kenya University. And as Caroline Kimwene now reports, his body was found in a forest about 30 kilometers from the university.
The body of a Mount Kenya University student was found in a forested area approximately 30 meters from the institution. A report from the university indicated that Fel Palmabwire, a 19-year-old, died by suicide. However, according to Palmer's family, who spoke during his funeral, the university's report contradicts that of the hospital, which revealed that the student died after being hit on the head with a blunt object.
Mtoto alipigwa na kifaa butu na akavunjiwa skali ya ndani. Mtoto alinyongwa na makucha alikuwa katika shingo na akafungwa kamba. Tumboni mwake ilionyesha kuwa huyo mtoto alikuwa na fresh food. Alikuwa amekula chakula cha usiku kwa hiyo shule, ugali na maharagwe. Kumaanisha mtoto alikuwa kwa shule hadi hiyo late.
The family is now demanding justice and calling on the government to establish the real cause of death of their son, who was a first-year student at Mount Kenya University.
Ningependa kumuuliza MCA wetu na viongozi wengine, Jambo hili si jambo rahisi. Je, mfuatilie muone kwamba tupate ukweli, ndugu yetu au mtoto huyu alikufaje? Ukweli ni kwamba aliuliwa. Na ikiwa aliuliwa, ni nani aliyemuua? Kwa nini hatuwezi kupata wale waliomuua?
The family is also accusing the university administration of turning a blind eye to the incident and is urging the government to intervene and help them get justice.
Kitu ambacho nauliza, hata kama mtoto wangu alijinyonga jinsi wanasema ama aliuawa, nataka hiyo shule yaajibike kwa matendo yao. Mimi niliwatrust na mtoto wangu, nikowapelekea mtoto. Huyo mtoto hakukuwa na deni shuleni. Hata wangeniambia, nataka tu maelezo kidogo, waniambie ni nini kilijiri hadi mtoto wangu nikampata akiwa maiti.
Palmer's death comes amid a rising trend of student killings in universities across the country, the latest case being that of Sylvia Kemunto, a student at Multimedia University. Her body was found dumped in a water tank within the institution. Police investigations into the murder are still ongoing. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
In the same somber mood, we move over to the coast region where Governor Abdul Samad Nasir has assured the family of an 81-year-old patient who allegedly died after oxygen was switched off at the Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital for maintenance that a thorough investigation will be conducted. Speaking to the press, the governor condoled with the bereaved family and vowed that those responsible would face the law. A private pathologist has been commissioned by the family for an autopsy, while the hospital and KPLC are expected to submit reports. Nasir urged the public to be patient as investigations continue.
Ikiwa kulikuwa kuna tatizo, lile tatizo lao ndio liloweza kusababisha hii kifo, na yule ambaye kwamba atakuwa ni responsible will definitely have to face the law. Hakuna hivi wala vile. There are no two ways about it.
Time for us to take a short break right here on KUTV Primetime News tonight. Keep it here.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
I was asking, in terms of separation of power, can you say something kind of positive or something that has kind of is positive? Because we cannot say that Kenya has failed in totality. Yeah.
But there's something I like, which is called critical engagement. We have to critically engage with the law, so that I'm not against separation of power. For example, these are very important principles that really underlie a country's progress. It's very important for us to note that. However, it's important for us to examine this critically, because when we critique, that's when we can make room for improvement.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin.
All right, I was pointing to my brain, and it's time for us to continue with the bulletin. Now, 8 traders have been arrested by officials from the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, in the Chumbi area, Machakos County. The 8 were apprehended for being in possession of plastic bags that were banned in Kenya in 2017. The officers were on a crackdown patrol inspection in the area. And here is more from the counties by our very own Ochieng Cynthia.
It was not business as usual for some of the traders in Kiumbi area, Machakos County, after the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, officially launched a crackdown seeking traders in possession of banned polythene bags.
Today we have managed to arrest 8 traders who will be going to court tomorrow to face the offense.
According to the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA offices, the arrested traders refused to reveal the identity of the plastic bag suppliers, further stating that they have instead employed the use of intelligence officers to assist in their tracking.
We are also following up to identify where the manufacturers are and also the suppliers. When we were trying to grill the traders, they were not able to tell us who the distributors were. Still trying to use maybe intelligence to identify some of these people who are supplying.
Additionally, the officers explained that the major challenges in the fight against the plastic bags in the country is due to their cross-border transportation, most especially from neighboring counties that have not banned the use of the bags.
The biggest challenges has always been our porous borders. You see, critically, if you assess the supply of these plastic bags, I think 90% of them come from this porous border, Namanga, Busia.
Meanwhile, in Migori County, an elderly woman was arrested for allegedly transporting 204 rolls of bang from Kakrau to Uriri area in Migori County. The woman, identified as Caroline Atieno Adhiambo, suspected to be a drug trafficker, was arrested following a tip-off from residents.
A tip-off from a member of the public, they managed to arrest a drug trafficker named Caroline Atieno Odhiambo. We urge the members of the public to volunteer information that will assist the arrest of the drug traffickers with 2 or 4 tariffs, sticks of bang, which was en route to Uriri.
In Kilifi County, the Board of Management at Kakuyuni Boys Secondary School in Malindi has defended the school principal, Alphonse Kaingu, amidst calls for his transfer. Some parents, students and politicians have demanded his removal, citing the decline into school's academic performance along with other allegations.
Na zile complaints zenye ambazo mimi nimepata kama mwakilishi wa watu ni kwamba hii shule, it was one of the top performing schools in Malindi constituency. Na saizi performance ya hii shule imekwenda wapi?
Who gathered the school on Monday 24th were not parents but were hired people and dragged mercenaries, paid at the rate of 200 shillings per heckler and 3,000 for the speakers who spoke. One of them was our own students, given 3,000 shillings. If you want names of the people who paid, we have the names.
Representatives such as Pastor Samson Wamunga, a board representative and member of parliament Amina Mnazi, have weighed in on the matter. Despite the board's defense of Principal Kaingu, both parents and students remain firm in their stance, citing that his transfer is necessary for the school's further growth and success. Watching Cynthia, KUTV.
Now, youth unemployment remains a significant concern, with a high percentage of young people facing difficulties entering the workforce. As a result, though not easy and pleasing to their parents, most of them venture into entrepreneurship. Here's a story of Millicent Kirugumi and Gamaliel Gershom, who chose to break the matrix and follow their passion rather than their profession.
According to World Bank on the Kenya Skill Profile, approximately 30% of university graduates in Kenya are unable to find jobs aligned with their fields of study within 2 years after graduation. Many of them eventually shift to unrelated fields, including entrepreneurship. At the same time, a 2022 study by Kenya National Bureau of Statistics found that nearly 40% of small and medium enterprise owners in Kenya had degrees in fields unrelated to their business ventures. The switch to entrepreneurship is often driven by a combination of push and pull factors, which include lack of job opportunities in their trained fields, layoffs or dissatisfaction with traditional employment, the desire for autonomy, financial freedom, and pursuing personal passions or gaps seen in the market. For Millicent Kirugumi, now the founder of Valine Naturals, it was a forced move predefined for her by the system.
I did education, I did mathematics and business studies. But I had one challenge. Anytime you would go to look for a job, you realize that, in TSC, the people who have cleared school like a few years before you, they get the job before you. Especially with my course, whereby there are not many schools that have business as a compulsory subject. So I would hope for a job, looking for anywhere that I can get through the interview. And at the end of it all, I found like this is becoming too tiring.
Millicent shares her journey through various business ventures before deciding on building her own company.
The best fallback plan was online work. So I went to online. I have done online for really like 8 years. I've done Mtuba business, But along the way, you realize that this business has challenges, despite the fact that you see it thriving with other people out there. It is not as you thought. So at some point, I felt like I needed something that I have some control over. Something that I can determine the quality of it.
Gamaliel Gerishom, who is now the CEO of Permanent Success Consultancy, also shares a similar narrative about the diversion of his career path.
When I joined campus as a teacher. I should be in class currently teaching Kiswahili and CRE. Yeah, so sometimes I think about it and look at the milestones that I have made and just think about many other people. The journey is interesting for those who want to take risks, who believe in themselves and do not just want to limit themselves in something which they do not believe this is my lifetime affair.
But every magnificent entrepreneurial venture is driven by passion.
It's important for you to become before you have. So becoming has to do with a lot of skills and mindset. Because even me as an entrepreneur, I'll tell you there are certain months I'm not making profits. But if I've not become an entrepreneur, definitely I'll think about employment again.
For Millicent, she drew her purpose from the pain she encountered as a result of stigmatization from having an acne-prone skin.
I wanted somebody, a young person, or those ladies, to feel like they are beautiful, they are worth it, so that even when they step out in confidence, this person feels, yeah, I am worthy. They can be able to appreciate their skin, you see, they can appreciate their skin without having to bleach and feel like now I have to be brown so that I'm beautiful.
Being a young entrepreneur, Millicent says the venture has its fair share of challenges and setbacks.
There is, number one, a lot of competition. Then you realize there are so many counterfeit products. When you are delving into natural business, it asks for heavy capital investment, because the ingredients you use, they are expensive, and you want to give people quality, you want to give people the best. When you are driven by passion, even you are able to navigate through challenges, because Valine Naturals is basically my passion.
Gamaliel Gerishom, on his part, explains the leading cause of small business failure within the first quarter of operation.
Many people who have quit employment to come to business, a good chunk of them have failed. Why? Because they were just happy. They were over-ambitious. If you are coming to business, make sure you have at least not less than 3 months money or finances that can sustain that business without you saying that you are paying yourself or you are paying others, so that the business can pick and then it can now sustain itself.
He stresses on the importance of having mentors, doing research, and undergoing training to help avert operation setbacks that arise from having limited knowledge and skills.
I always say that person who is at the top of the mountain knows how to get there. But if someone just admires to be on top of the mountain, they can easily lead you astray because they don't know how to get there. Never underestimate the power of accountability partners in business. Someone who keeps checks and balances. You don't do things alone. Even me, I have a mentor, I have a coach who I have to submit my reports by the end of the month, telling him this is what I've achieved, this is what I've not been able to achieve, and stuff like that.
I went through a vigorous training on formulations. But it all starts from understanding the skin, So I had through a training on skin, then I went through a vigorous training on formulations, so that I'm able to formulate according to the skin type. And something that personally I would have wanted the government to give me is to help me access the government facility where young manufacturers are nurtured, you see. And now that one, I remember I tried when I was starting this business, and it became totally hard and difficult.
Like most businesses, standing out in the midst of market competition is considered a major challenge. Through her experience in various business ventures, Millicent shares her major lesson to keeping businesses relevant.
You enter sometimes in business expecting growth tomorrow. And that is where many businesses fail, because you don't give time for this business to thrive and get some roots. So I would say, instead of focusing on this growth every morning, every day, focus on the quality. The quality of the service, the quality of the products that you offer is what is your business. Keep the best customer service. You may be having the best products, you may be having the best service, but how you deliver it to the customers, it means everything.
In order to build an entrepreneurial spirit and reduce the increasing unemployment rate among young people, parents are encouraged to focus on the gifts and talents of their children.
Many people, especially those ones who have been brought up by parents who believed in going to school, getting a good grade, get a good job, and get a good salary, then retire in peace. Many of them have been trapped into that mindset. Many parents force their children to live their dream. I would encourage many parents, focus on the gifts, the talents, and the skills of your children. Don't just look at the economical value. There is something called fulfillment, personal fulfillment. It is much more important than the money.
Millicent and Gamaliel are just a few examples of many graduates who opt to shift to entrepreneurship rather than blaming the system for their career dissatisfaction. With the current rising cases of unemployment, it is therefore a need for the young people to embrace entrepreneurial mindset. Anyango Sylvia, KUTV.
My name is Kutv. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, and I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by KUTV University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at KUTV University Television.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mukwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
they find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated.
inclusive setups.
By providing the right facilities.
Welcome back. You're still watching KUTV Primetime News tonight, and it's time for sports. Now, Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Washeke Wanjohi, Professor, reiterated that the significant role universities play in bridging the inequality gaps in sports through fostering equal playing field across all sports and gender. Our sports reporter Auma Evans pitched camp at the Bishop Square as stakeholders converged at the Kenyatta University to mark World Sports Day.
The 2025 International Day of Sports for Development and Peace, which underscores the importance of social inclusion and leveling playing field, was marked and styled at Kenyatta University main campus. In her message read by Professor Nelson Wawire, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration and Finance, Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Professor Washeke Wanjohi emphasized the important role universities play in bridging the existing barriers in sports.
In this regard, there is need to integrate sports peace within the core academic activities, that is, teaching, research, and community engagement. This will enhance our capacity to promote constructive dialogue, to address inequalities in Kenya, enhancing capacity for collaboration and peace building, as well as support reintegration.
This year's theme was echoed in equal measure by every speaker who took to the podium.
And as we reflect on the transformative role of sports today, keyword transformative, we need to be very understanding of what the role that sports plays in our communities or in our society. That's in fostering peace, social inclusion, and development.
We believe mass participation in sports is essential for creating healthy individuals and a thriving economy. Today's event celebrates our collective commitment to using sports for development and peace, highlighting its broader impact on creating a more inclusive world.
From the athletes who shapes the culture and demand accountability, to the scientists who advance testing and detection methods, to the sports leaders who choose to put athletes right and a level playing field above all else, the message is simple. The war must be fought in every angle.
And surely we cannot talk about development and peace if the society is affected by alcohol and drugs. That's why we are here to emphasize the need for us to keep off from drugs. Keep off drugs, and sports is a very good preventive therapy.
I feel bad because there is no difference between a jumper and a footballer, because those two are achieving the same thing for the country, for themselves, for their communities and their families. So my prayer is like, if our ministry, if anyone who loves sport out there can look at other upcoming sports as important as other sports.
With a concerted effort to bridge the inequality gaps in sports on top gear, athletes believe that a lot needs to be done to realize the dream of equality in sports. As stakeholders converge at Kenyatta University to mark World International Sports Day for Development and Peace, one thing is for sure: equality in sports remains a bridge too far, but with concerted effort, anything is possible. Auma Evans for KUTV at Kenyatta University Main Ground, Nairobi.
My director Melton Conchella can be quite handful. He's just making noise all over because he belongs, or he supports a team by the name Chelsea that won yesterday's match. That notwithstanding, we've come to the end of the bulletin tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for information on what's happening in your country and beyond our borders. And as our president continues to face Mount Kenya and various leaders in government continue to face criticism from activists and other citizens alike, we're reminded that we are in a season as a country, a season where the citizens themselves are providing what the opposition should be providing: oversight to the government, to the ruling party, to the ruling government, to the government that is making things flow or otherwise, depending on where you stand as a citizen. We come to the end of the conversation for now. We take you back to our normal programming, entertainment, educative programs right here on KUTV and your experience. There is no better place to be, and we leave you in safe hands of our programming department as they bring you episodes and programs that really pertain to your present and to your future. Sami Okello is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Mutegi K. Martin. Good night.